You ever
All
look
right.
down your Spotify, like recently, search songs, and you're like, why did I search that song? But that's a good song.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've got Pony by Genuine.
That's my number one song.
That's a good song,
That's
though.
yeah, yeah.
So good. It's on there twice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And Backstreet Boys, Celine Dion. Yeah, man. I was getting it recently. Huh.
Oh,
Well,
before you roll the intro,
hmm
if you're feeling a little randy, or you want to have a little fun,
did you get a new one?
Eric, you can click the mystery intro song
Oh,
and let that play for a second.
Okay, hold on.
I'm offended that you don't know that I'm the one who clicks the song.
Mystery intro song.
Uh,
Okay. Wait, is it a song that's potentially copyrighted? Because if so, we gotta do it
no,
in the after show.
no,
Okay. It's like the
it's
James
used
Bond one. We gotta do in the
it's
after.
used on in other similar circles.
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
okay. All
Okay.
right.
All right.
In three, two, one.
Oh no. I can't even do this. All right.
Yes, you can.
Welcome to Off the God, it sounds like a freaking Green Suiters podcast. Welcome to Off the Cut episode 87. We're up in Toronto. And here in Ohio, today is known as Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. And on this day in history, the Green Suiters podcast, the worst woodworking podcast available on Apple and Spotify, started selling Ted's woodworking plans in an attempt to actually have something interesting to talk about.
Oh my god.
Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember Ted's woodworking plans?
No, I'm gonna look it up right now.
Oh, Zach, come on.
Is
Have
this
you
the,
been
like?
on social media in the last 5 years?
No,
There's
not
different
really.
versions of it too,
Or how about
Is it?
like
It's just
wood
like a big
bricks
package
or
of
wood
woodworking
glue?
plans.
basically.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the idea is that have you heard of the 16,000 woodworking plans scam?
Yeah.
It's the
yeah.
same thing. Same thing.
Okay.
So for people who don't know about this, like all these accounts basically try to get you to like buy this set of woodworking plans. If you buy them, they're just tons of haphazardly stolen plans from tons of
Right.
other people that may just have like one random diagram of something and missing all of the other information.
Oh, really?
So it's just a big pile of garbage that's also stolen garbage.
Wow. Okay. I had always assumed what it was just somebody stealing a bunch of plans.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that they left out a bunch of pertinent information.
Yeah. Steve Ramsey did a big expose on them a couple years ago. Like he
funny.
bought it for himself
Yeah.
just to see what it was. He said it was just 100% just hot garbage.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But how they get everybody to promote it is it's something like something insane, like a 90% affiliate commission.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if they sell this thing that's like, $100, they get like $90 there.
Right. Right.
Right. So it's a
If
scam.
it wasn't so evil, it would be kind of smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what have you been up to, Zach? I saw you put out the Nintendo 64 video today. Haven't watched it yet, but my inner nostalgia really peaked, and I really wanted to click on it. Just didn't have the time, and I had to give you the respect of giving you the 100% watch.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that video is out. It's doing pretty well. It was nice to get it off the plate because I've been working on that video since like August, and just like kind of bits and pieces like here and there because there was like delays waiting for the 3D printer and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I put that out. Very happy with how it's doing. And I spent all of today in the shop testing my DIY air quality meter.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I was using different tools, like seeing how it affects air quality, seeing how long it takes it to like go back to normal afterwards. I test a bunch of different finishes, different paints. So yeah.
Do you have any spoilers, or not ready to release any spoilers?
I'll give you a couple little ones. Like I suspected, I think we talked about this before. You definitely want to be vacuuming your shop floors and not sweeping. Do not sweep your
Yeah.
shop floors. And also, welding just blew all the meters on this machine just completely off the charts.
Okay.
I was
When
really
what kind of
badly
welding
phrased
are we
sentence,
talking?
but huh?
What kind of welding are we talking about?
MIG welding.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense though.
I guess like it's like superheated gases and there's things are burning. But the thing that I was the most surprised by was it created a ton of particulates in the air. Very, very small particulates that like dust that I couldn't even see with my eye, but it was just off the charts on the meter.
Did you research it to figure out like what the particulate was?
No, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that before the actual video finish. I just got home like 30 minutes ago.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious if it's like is it bits of metal like almost like microscopic pieces of like slag or
Yeah.
like
Maybe,
Or
or
that
maybe
smoke.
it's something combusting. Yeah, maybe it's a smoke. I did clean the metal pretty well beforehand, so it shouldn't have too much smoke. But I don't know.
oh, I didn't even think about that. Like if the metal was dirty or had some grease or, you know,
Yeah,
contaminants
yeah.
on it, as soon as you superheat it, you're burning that.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, CO2, VOCs, and particulate matter were just completely off the charts, which I was not expecting. And same thing with grinding too. I thought grinding metal. I was like, well, the metal flakes will be pretty heavy, so they'll probably fall out of the air quickly.
Right.
But they stayed suspended in the air for a long time.
Now,
and-
see, that's shocking to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
So, I think there's something about metal getting really hot that makes it. I don't know if it vaporizes and it gets in the air or something like that. It'll be interesting to kind of dig into it and do a little more research and see.
Yeah. So, are you thinking of doing all of those things in one video or kind of like segmenting like finishes in one video, like woodworking stuff in one video, metalworking stuff in one video? What are your thoughts?
I think I'm going to do it all in one video, and then
Yeah.
we'll see what the response is. And if people want me to dive more into some things, then I will then do that.
Okay.
Oh, and the other one that was really surprising, cutting MDF on the table saw. Basically no dust. No particulate matter in the air.
Really? Because
Yeah.
everyone says that, like, oh, you do anything to MDF, it's the biggest culprit in the world.
I know, well, the funny thing was, on the miter saw, dust everywhere. And just
Right,
off the chart
right.
readings. But on the table saw, for whatever reason, maybe it's my table saw has like, but I ran it with both the dust collection on and the dust collection off. Dust collection off, there was like a tiny little spike, little bump, and it took a while to like settle in the air. But with the dust collection on, it was like nothing.
Well, see,
was
now I
surprised
want
by it.
see. Now if the video goes well, I got ways that you can dive in and like, you know, just rip this video off and make more. You
Yeah,
can say
yeah.
like, does the blade height matter? Does
Right.
the blade type matter? Does how
Yeah.
hard you're pushed, like your feed rate matter for dust collection?
I think feed rate probably matters because I did notice that if I pushed it slower, it was better at collecting the dust, and if I pushed it quickly, there was
Which makes
more.
sense.
Which makes sense, yeah. So there are a whole bunch of different variables you can test, but at the end of the day, I spent all day. I got to the shop at like 9:30 this morning until 6:30ish, and I only was able to do like surface level testing on a bunch of things because I wanted to see. So one of the things I did was I would do all the test, or I would do a test. I would kick a bunch of dust up in the air while I was working with the tool, and then I would see how long it took for the air quality levels to normalize.
Right.
And so basically, I'm doing a test, and then I'm waiting, some cases, 15, 20, 30 minutes for things to go back to normal. So it was that kind of slowed down the testing process a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense because you do one test and now you're like, well, I'm just gonna sit here for a half hour and like just piss away time.
Especially some things like I sprayed spray paint, and I'm there, and it's like 45 minutes later, it's like, yeah, still reeks like spray paint in here.
I mean, it makes sense. Like we've all spray painted something, and like sometimes you put on your safety, you know, nose plug, but really
Yeah.
you're like, I'll hold my breath, I'll be all right. Just a
Yeah.
couple quick, psh, psh, you'll be
Yeah.
good.
Another quick little hot tip for don't do that. The spray paint was one of the worst things on
That
again
makes
on
sense.
multiple axes. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it'll be a fun video.
I think again, and I'm finding ways that you can dive in more and more and more because that's the strategy on YouTube. If something works well, you basically
Yeah.
repeat it slightly differently.
Yeah.
Insider baseball there. So, you could do the table saw alone. You could be like, do these super expensive overarm dust collection things actually do anything? Like what's the saw stop one? Like
Yeah,
700
yeah.
bucks?
I know it's crazy. I was gonna say early on in my like I kind of wrote out like a rough outline,
Sure.
and I was like I was thinking I should outline that I don't have a lot of dust collection on my table saw because one, it's very clunky. Like having that guard directly above the blade is kind of a pain in the butt,
Especially
and
for filming.
also it's expensive. So I was going to make like all these apologies, and then I was going to be like, well, but this is probably more representative of what most people's table saws are actually like.
And that could be then you go like skirt, but I spent $750 on the overarm dust collection and it sucks.
Yeah,
But it made a 45% increase. So like, is it worth the $700? Because like I know tons of people who they get a new saw stop and they're like, oh, I gotta get the overarm dust collection.
yeah,
They use the saw for like a month and then they never touch it again.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's yeah. I wonder if I actually have it somewhere. I'm trying to. I got that table saw so long ago. I
It
have
should
no
have
idea.
come with like so they have the thin one,
They have two. Yeah, they have the
and then
thick
they
one
have
and
like
the
the
thin one.
4-inch port one too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't remember. I think I have the thin one for sure somewhere. I think that's it though, and I don't even use that because even that's a pain in the butt.
Right. I had the thin one came with the Harvey. But I mean, surprise, like the dust collector that I have is awful. So it barely pulls dust out of the bottom of the saw, let alone splitting that up into two different things. Like
Yeah,
I like held dust right next to it and it like took a little bit. And so I was
okay.
like, there's no point of doing this.
Yeah, yeah,
So mine's blocked off. But
yeah.
I don't know. That's interesting though.
Hmm.
MDF. And that's gonna piss people off. Here's the title. You're wrong about MDF.
Ooh,
Everything
yeah.
you know about MDF is wrong.
Oh, that's not bad. Hold on, I'm gonna write that down for a second.
Because that is going to get people fired up. And then, so then your quick hook in the video could be like, everyone says MDF is the biggest dust culprit in the shop. Not the
Wrong.
truth.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'm Zach. We're going to dive into this, talk about this. I think that'll be a great hook for the video.
So it was interesting. I like at the start of it, I was like, because you realize how much you can iterate on this idea, right? So
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking, how can I do this? Like, should I do wood? Should I do MDF? Should I do particle board? And then I was like, okay, well, let's just eliminate that variable and I'll do everything with MDF because that will be the worst of all the possible things. And now I'm kind of wondering to myself, well, maybe I should test with a little bit of pine or something like that and see if
Yeah.
it changes anything.
I mean, that could even, but you don't want to address all of the YouTube comments in video one. You want
Yeah.
people to be pissed off.
Sure.
So that you can be like,
Sure.
people got really mad about me only using MDF in this, so I had to use pine. Or like, what about plywood? What about melamine? Like,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
try to cover everything in video one, you're limiting your video potential.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. It's all about the sequels, right?
Right.
If the Avengers taught me anything, it's all about the sequels.
Always leave it open for a sequel.
What about you? What were you working on today?
Dude, I am so freaking close to being done with that damn chessboard.
Okay. Okay.
Still on it.
Okay, last time we talked, you were trying to get the finish on it
Yes.
and then roll it down over the sides.
Yes.
So where are we at now?
What I've had to do is I started out, I took like tabletop epoxy, which is already like self-leveling pretty thin. I thinned it down a little bit more.
What'd you thin it with?
Xylene?
Oh, I've never even worked with that before. I don't think
Yeah,
so.
I don't know. To be honest with you, it's the only solvent I had, and I looked it up on the internet. And people were like, yeah, it seems to work okay. And I was like, all right.
All right.
whatever. I'm not too
I wonder
concerned
if
about
there's
it.
is there
Worst case,
like
your title is now I ruined my $20,000 chessboard.
Right?
yeah, true. Is there a generic name for xylene that I'm unaware
I
of?
think
Like, is it
that's what it
I
is.
think
I
it's
don't
just
know. I got
xylene.
it from Total Boat.
okay?
Total
I've seen
Boat
it at the big boxes.
Xylene. Yeah, it's or I'm sorry, there's xylol and xylene. XYLENE.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was looking at. Okay, interesting.
$30 for a gallon of it? Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's expensive.
yeah.
So what I've done is I thinned it down and basically like painted the surface of the chessboard to try to like seal in all the pores and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, right? Because you know when you pour, especially clear epoxy over wood, no matter what you do, bubbles,
Yeah.
right? So I did like a coat of that and then kind of sanded it flush. Another coat of that, sanded it flush. Another coat of that, sanded it flush. Then I did like full strength tabletop epoxy. And keep in mind, during this whole endeavor, I have to wait like 5 days between each coat because when you thin it, it takes
Yeah.
even longer to cure.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think
So
about that.
I'm like 4 weeks into the finishing process on this thing,
Wow.
which
Are
is
you able to do
totally
anything
not
else?
worth. Am I what?
Have you been able to do anything else?
No, because I can't
'Cause you
cut
can't make
anything else.
dust.
You
There
can't
can't
do
be
anything.
dust in the garage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I had
dude,
to
you
like
should-
leaf blow out the whole garage multiple times,
Mhm.
vacuum everything, leaf blow it again, and then I'm like, okay, now I can start.
Yeah. Wow. That's
So
this is gonna be one of those videos too where this is gonna be like when I made the QR code table and I spent like 3 weeks working on this damn table, and then the video just like it's so heartbreaking when the video doesn't go to the moon, and you're like,
Mhm.
damn it.
mhm.
I hope I'm wrong for your sake because I know that pain and I don't want
Oh.
you to experience it.
I'm gonna make about 95 different thumbnails and titles and just absolutely obliterate it with A/B testing.
Yeah.
It has to go somewhere.
Yes.
At least
Ooh,
give me 50,000. At least give me 50,000.
So speaking of A/B testing, I started testing. Remember last week how I used the TubeBuddy to analyze which
yeah.
thumbnails were underperforming and
Yeah.
like which ones had the best opportunity. So I started doing that test, and I've already got some initial results in on
Oh.
it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to
Results
see if
are
any of
in.
my old videos take off to the moon.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I still have that stupid ass pallet wood table that I made a million years ago. Like
Mhm.
3 or 4 years ago. It's still I'm getting like 200,000 views a month on it.
Hell yeah. I was looking. I saw that actually. It was. You had a good title on it right now. It was like people don't understand that this is like diamond waiting in the rough or something. There's
Right,
like a
yeah.
fortune to be made with this garbage or
Yeah.
something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like here's the stats on it. 2.1 million views just out of nowhere. Flatline for 4 years,
Yeah.
3
That's
years.
That's crazy.
Straight up.
Wow.
What the hell? The retention is 20%. Look at that, but it's flat across. I mean, like that's a great retention graph.
Yeah. True.
But it's
I
in
mean,
the dump. I mean, you expect that when it's at, you know, 2 million views.
yeah. Nobody has
No.
crazy retention at that point.
No. Apparently somebody. Oh, I got 98 cents and super likes on that.
Ooh.
Super likes.
I like that you can get super likes as comments, but nobody ever does it. I think I
No.
got one once. Somebody gave me a super thank you of like
Yeah,
$2 or
I think
something
that's
like
what that was.
Yeah.
It was like
Okay, for the
98.
ignorant here, you got to explain a super like. I've not heard of this before.
Dude,
Oh.
I don't know. I just every once in a while that'll be like, oh, somebody sent you 99 cents, thanking
So-
you. And you're like, okay.
It's people can attach a dollar figure, whatever they want, I think, to a comment so that a creator is like more likely to see it, I think is the idea.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you can have like you can put $5 on it, and then it like sends a notification to the creator.
Let's see here.
Oh, so yeah, okay. So I'm watching a video and I hit the thanks button on the bottom right next to like thumbs up, share, download, thanks clip, and it
Oh yeah, there it
says
is.
so click that. And so the one that it suggests is $2, and now it's like I can make whatever comment I want. It says as an added bonus, the above public comment will be published on your behalf. And it says buy a
That's
super
crazy.
thanks, which directly supports the creator.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's cool. I mean, I don't think anyone actually does that, but I've seen
Prove
people
us wrong.
use it in like live streams where they're like, because if you like super like it, they like their thing like pops up and like kind of pins to like the top of the chat or whatever.
Yeah.
And like the more money that you pay, like the longer it'll stay on the top of the chat or whatever.
Yeah, and it, like I think in some chats, like obviously the Off the Cut podcast doesn't have. Although there are people chatting right now, but we don't have one of those ones where it's just flying by. Have you ever seen some of those streamers where it's like you literally
yeah.
can't even keep track? It's like,
Yeah. No, we'll get there one day. We'll get there
Oh
one
yeah,
day.
oh yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, so the chessboard's just about done. I'm happy with the top of it. I'm like, okay, we're good to go.
Looks good.
I'm gonna let it cure for a week or two, so it's rock hard. Then I'm gonna flip it over, and I'm gonna sand the bottom, and then I'm gonna finish the bottom with just polyurethane, so
Okay.
that it fills in those cracks and whatnot, and then I'll be good to go. So
Yep.
the chessboard is now inside, so my shop is open up, and I got
Oh, okay.
so I got a question for you. This isn't usually something I do, but it's so my buddy who works for Milwaukee Tools. He texted me. He was like, "Hey, my girlfriend's like kitchen drawer, fell apart because it was made out of melamine."
Yeah. Okay.
And he's like, "Any way you could just like throw together a new drawer box, like you make it out of any scrap wood. Don't have to sand it. Don't have to finish it. Just like basically, 4 sides and a bottom." He goes, "Don't have to install any hardware. Just give it to me. I can install it. I just don't have a table saw or anything." And I was like, I guess. I was like, yeah. Because, I mean, he's hooked me up with a bunch of stuff in the past. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So I'm going to work on that tomorrow.
Okay.
And then he texts me. He goes, "Happy to pay you, or if you want some Milwaukee stuff, just let me know."
Oh, okay.
So here's the question.
What Milwaukee stuff?
What do I ask him for?
Okay. Well, let me pull up the old Milwaukee web. You gotta ask for some weird, because Milwaukee's pretty good in the sense that they have a very deep product catalog.
Like DeWalt.
Yeah. So I'm looking at their website right now, and they actually have an electric cordless plate tamper, and I think that is hilarious. So you should definitely ask for that.
Is that like when you do the you're putting pavers out for a patio and you get it like tamped down?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a big heavy. It's like think of a jackhammer, but instead of having a point, it's got a big flat plate. They have a cordless one of those, which I think is wild.
Does it run
Well, I
on
think-
their 60-volt batteries?
2 of them.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That's out. I think that's out of the realm of things I'm gonna get. I saw in their M12 lineup like the little itty bitty battery ones.
Yeah.
They have a cordless pin nailer and a cordless brad nailer.
I
I
literally
don't have
just
any
looking
nail
at-
guns.
Oh, well, there you go. That's pretty good.
There you go. Yeah.
I feel like that would be a pretty good one.
I mean, a cordless nail gun is a great little thing to have around the shop. I use them
Yes.
all the time, especially if you just want to glue 2 pieces together and you want to just nail it together. You want something that's like nice and you just want it to hold while the glue sets.
Yeah.
And then you can go in.
Yeah.
It's just little pin nails, so they're super easy to fill and work past. I use
Sand
them
and
all the
glue
time.
usually works.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah, I
think,
say
like,
look at it like.
Go ahead, Derek. Sorry.
I was gonna say, just look at it like that. Like either what you are you just drinking straight out of the bottle?
I am. So, but look how much left. There's like not even a whole drink at the bottom. I've got a bottle of bourbon. I'm just drinking straight out of the bottle, but there is literally that much left at the bottom.
Like
mean,
a
that's
drunk,
enough.
yeah.
That's enough to get you drunk.
You should have topped it off with some tea first
Yeah.
before we started.
We seen when You ever seen like the videos that Jason Bourbonoff puts out when he fills it with iced tea and he like downs an entire bottle of bourbon or something during one of his videos? It's funny.
That's
There are
funny.
definitely people that think that's bourbon.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you think a pin nailer, brad nailer would be a good option?
Yeah, not
Yeah,
bad.
Something
Go
that
ahead,
you either need or something that you have that you hate and want to replace.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What about there's also this the borescope, which is just like a camera on the end of a wire, so you can like feed it down things. Think that might be kind of fun. I don't know what
I
you
could
do with
be
it.
I'm a proctologist.
Exactly. Yeah. Little borescope.
That could be a show title, the one where they become proctologists.
Proctologist. You said you have a leaf blower, right? So
I have a DeWalt one, but I'm
Mhm.
definitely considered just moving away from the DeWalt stuff just because
Yeah.
I have too many damn battery platforms.
Yeah,
And I
was looking
already
at
did
it.
the video about how it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So
It
you're
doesn't
gonna
matter until you got 6.
Yeah.
Right.
Or what about some pack outs for organizing?
I'd consider
mean-
that as well.
I guess you
They're
have
nice.
some sustainers.
Yeah.
So
Especially
But
if you need like
even-
small parts organization. They got really nice ones.
Yeah, that's true.
and the cost of production to MSRP differential is probably pretty huge there. Like I don't think these pack outs actually cost that much to make. So your friend might be willing to give you just a whole bunch of like, $2,000 worth of pack outs. that
Right.
really
But
cost more
they're
than
like
$200 to make.
the most expensive ones for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I also was looking at their website. What about a heated jacket?
I already have one.
Oh, you already have one. Does it work well? I've always wondered.
Okay, so the Milwaukee heated jacket. Here's the thing. It basically has like little coils that run through it.
Yeah.
And the problem is because it's like a work jacket. It's slightly looser fitting.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so if the coils aren't touching you, you don't really feel the heat. So what I always tell people, if you're going to invest in a heated something, do the heated vest because
And
you're
then
going to
put
wear
it
the
under.
vest and then you wear like a jacket over it.
Yeah.
The vest is awesome.
Okay. My thinking with those is always that when I'm out working outside, especially, it's never my core that gets cold. It's always my extremities.
Yeah, hands and feet.
So I'm always wondering, like, is this just gonna? I usually have the problem where I'm too hot through my chest already,
Right.
and it's my hands and feet that are cold. So I worry that this would exacerbate that problem.
What about heated pants?
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, let's see.
I don't know if Milwaukee makes them, but you think nail guns would be pretty good options. I also saw a cordless heat gun.
Cordless heat gun, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, yeah, that could be actually kind of handy.
It's good for popping bubbles.
True.
Work light, yeah.
Yeah. I bet that heat gun rips through batteries though.
Oh, for sure. It's literally just converting battery electricity to heat at 100% efficiency.
Does Milwaukee make a hot glue gun?
I doubt it. I remember looking, but let's see.
Oh, there you go. You can send your Jackery a run for the money and get the power converter. You can plug in one more device.
Oh, dude, I'm getting
there you
another
go.
one of those battery things.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
From some other company, yeah.
From Ink. Maybe I shouldn't say it. I don't know.
No, it's not that one. Hold on. I mean, you know
Yeah.
that through with our agency that helps Zach and I, it's like, hey, there's a battery company. It's Yoshino.
Oh, interesting. I haven't heard of that one. So it's funny because Mark was talking to me the other day about another brand. So I guess there's 3 brands coming to market with these big heavy-duty batteries.
Oh yeah. Let's see. So what were the other ones that are often in there? We get Jackery, you get Jackery EcoFlow, this Yoshino.
Yes.
The
new one is Anchor Solix.
Yes. There's that one. There's a bunch of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't keep up with them.
So
But
interesting. Like, it must be a pretty lucrative product category because they're all going gangbusters on the ads right now.
it has to, I suppose.
Yeah.
Huh. But yeah, so I got another one of those coming. So I'm like, jeez.
So the Jackery.
The Jackery works great.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
All right,
have that
well,
one hidden under the workbench.
I was watching your. It was so funny because I immediately knew I was watching your latest video and I immediately knew that it was a Jackery sponsorship because you could just see it off camera. Like,
What was my most recent video?
maybe it was 2 videos again. Let me look.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It's been too long.
Yeah, I noticed it's also been like 2 months since you put out a video, huh? Or maybe
Yeah,
not.
yeah. I'm like I said, I got videos ready. I'm just we're
Yeah.
going through some like final details, nailing down sponsor stuff. So I'll have one out in the next few weeks or so.
Oh yeah, 5 things I wish somebody told me when I first. It was like your tip for selling more stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I basically just had it sitting in the background the entire time.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was super obvious.
It was very obvious, but only to me because I know because I've had the conversation. But I was like, oh, this is going to be a Jackery video because I can see it right in the opening shot.
Right. They were just like, we just want a bunch of like screen time for it, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
I mean, it paid well, so whatever.
Hell
And
yeah.
I think I talked about it for like 30 or 40 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, but it was in almost. Want to say it was in like 50 to 60% of the shots.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah, it
So
is
the
what it is.
one.
I was gonna say
the
you
one-
sold it more on here than you did on your video.
True.
Probably.
True. You probably moved a
great.
lot of units to the podcast.
But it's not worth $3,500 or whatever it is.
Yeah, they're. But again, like I'm thinking about it, and it's literally just a. We've talked about this before about how power tool batteries kind of just cost what they cost, and that's why there's not really much variation between a DeWalt battery and a Ryobi battery.
Yeah.
Because it's basically a commodity product. So if you think about something like that, that's just a bunch of lithium-ion cells all wired up in parallel, right? So I get why they're so expensive. It's because there's just a crap ton of lithium-ion batteries in there.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same as like a Tesla battery, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's probably like 1/8 of a Tesla battery or something like that.
Yeah. That would be one of my biggest fears about getting an electric car is like, or a hybrid car for that reason. Like,
Yeah.
I bet that battery has got to be $5, $10, $15,000 to replace.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was looking at the. I've been car shopping again, and I was looking at the F-150 hybrid, and I think Ford has an 8-year warranty on the battery.
How many miles on it?
Let
Like
me see.
100,000?
More than that, I think. It was something. It was pretty ridiculous when I was looking
Okay.
at it.
But see, even when you hear those claims, like it's just like any power tool company, like fucking there it is, Rigid with their bullshit lifetime warranty thing, where it's just like, well, kind of, like you know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's just
Yeah.
a bunch of marketing hype, and it's just no one actually knows what they're getting.
Oh, you're
I
right.
gotta
So
say,
it's-
my rigid batteries go a lot faster than my DeWalt ones do. Whenever
Right.
I'm
Really?
using similar tools, the rigid ones it blows right through them so much faster.
Yeah, well, the only DeWalt batteries I've ever lost have been really, really old 1.5 amp hours. I've never had.
Oh, I just mean
any-
like it runs down faster. The rigids do.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They don't hold it as long. Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
That makes
I haven't
sense.
lost a battery since I got rid of Ryobi.
I haven't.
Those it was every 2 years guaranteed.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
Ryobi, you could just call. There's like a phone number. You could just
Oh, yeah.
call them, and then they just like send you batteries. You could call every
I'd take
day.
them. I'd take them back into Home Depot and they'd swap them out for me, no problem.
Oh, really?
But
So
they would only
made me
last
call.
about 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, that's still a hassle. I'd rather just have a battery that actually lasted rather than having to go replace
Yeah.
them all the time.
Right. So Zach, you're looking up the warranty for these lithium batteries in the cars.
Yeah, so you're right. So it's 8 years or 100,000 miles.
So if you're buying the car new or like a one you buy it used after like a 1 year lease or whatever, like you'd be good for several years. But
Yeah.
if you're somebody who buys a car with like, I don't know, 75, 85,000 miles on it, like, man,
Yep.
that'd scare me, right? To like
Sure. Sure.
potentially get like a hybrid car or an electric car, and like you don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
you might have bought this truck for, 15, 20 grand,
Yeah.
and then, you know, a year later you're 10, 15 grand in the hole buying a new battery for this thing. Like,
Well, I think the nice thing about a hybrid is at least if the battery goes, you're just driving a gas vehicle at that point.
Yeah.
right, right,
So-
A gallon at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So.
But you know what I
And
mean?
it
Like,
really
that's
isn't.
thinking that you could get just absolutely hosed with a battery powered car potentially
Potentially, yeah.
if you
I'm
didn't
sure.
buy it new.
I've seen actually guys who will do DIY battery swaps on old Priuses because you can get old Priuses for relatively cheap when their battery packs die. And a lot of the time, it's not the entire battery pack that's dead. It's just one specific cell in the battery. So they crack the battery open, replace the cell, and all of a sudden, for $100 fix, you have this basically fully functional Prius.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we
Terrifying.
were looking for Miranda's car, like a couple, I don't know, 6 months ago or something like that. We saw so many of those Chevy Volts that were
Yeah.
all like 60 to 70,000 miles on it. And we're like, it's like 7 grand. Like, why is this so cheap? And then I
Yeah.
did a little bit of internet research. It was like people just unload the cars at like 50, 60,000 miles because the battery costs more than the car is worth at that time.
Right, right. They also had some crazy promo. My friend was living in LA and he was car shopping. I was kind of helping him with it. He's like, dude, I'm really tempted to get the Chevy Volt or the Chevy Bolt. I can't remember which one it was because they had so many layers of incentives on it. Chevy had a incentive on it. The state of California had an incentive on it. He was like, I can get a brand new car and my lease payment will be $50 a month.
Huh.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I think there was also probably a lot of people took them up on that offer, and then as soon as the lease period was up, just got rid of it right away. So there's probably a flood of them on the used car market.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you know what I just thought? Would it, and this is something up your alley, Zach, because you're the tech guy. Whenever you get like tool combo kits, they always give you those shitty batteries that are like 1 amp hour that last for like you drive in 3 screws and they're dead.
Yeah,
Like,
the
come on.
1.5 amp hour special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want at least like a 3 or 4 amp hour battery.
Yeah.
Could you make a DeWalt super battery? Like something just asinine, like a 28 amp hour battery. And this could be like a Valentine's Day special. Or like a April Fool's Day special. You put it out like I made, the strongest battery, right? And then
Yeah.
you 3D print it where you have your drill, and then you have like it looks like a Pringles can coming out the bottom of your drill.
I'm almost positive you could. I don't see any reason why you couldn't. You just wire up all the batteries in parallel, and yeah, you might even be able to do it by just like with just jamming wires.
I know.
Okay, yeah, that's a good. I like that idea. I'm gonna
It
try
would
that.
be fun. It would be
Yeah.
or at the very or here's how you can do it is if you can find like a bunch of used DeWalt batteries or something like yeah, or just reach out to your guy at DeWalt. I mean, they
Dude,
might
you know how many
be funny.
1.5 amp hour batteries I have
Well,
that I never use?
because if you're
Just
gonna buy
daisy chain
any
them.
tool, you buy the damn combo kit.
Exactly.
I wish they'd let you save $15-20. Be like, I don't want the charger though. You keep the charger.
You keep the. Oh, you know how many chargers I have? I have even more chargers than I have 1.5 amp hour batteries.
Dude, I'm the same way. I have so many damn chargers, and some of the tools I'm like, all right, like if I get the like some of the Festool tools, I'll just keep the charger in the sustainer so that if when I like take
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
tool somewhere, I'm like, oh, it's got the charger in there, like good to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got to have 8 or 9 of those chargers, and I really only need like one in the
Yeah.
shop, really.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. Like, batteries, though. Am I right?
Batteries.
Well,
Oh,
Derek,
man.
what's the biggest DeWalt battery that they have?
12
15 or
amp.
12? 12 amp hour?
12.
12 amp hours? Is that like the 60-volt one or 40-volt?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
that's a
flex
60
volt.
volter.
It comes with the lawnmower because I have it and it came with 2 of them.
Oh, man.
I want
That's
to
probably.
know. Go. Sorry, Zach. You go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say that batteries probably cost more than a lawnmower.
Right.
Probably.
So I see all these power tool companies.
Uh-oh.
Did you lose me?
No, you're good.
Oh, I just heard. Uh-oh.
Oh,
I hear.
it froze on me up my end for a minute.
Oh
Oh, no, you're okay. You're all good.
I hear all these power tool companies, and mostly like Ryobi. I mean, you heard a lot of like the Greenworks and like what's the other like big
yeah.
lawnmower one? Eco something.
Flex.
There's actually, I think there's one that's just called Eco, isn't there? There's
Yeah,
there's
like you go get like a
Ergo
battery
or something
powered
like
one.
that.
Ergo. I think Ergo is it.
yeah.
So those companies tend to market like their lawnmower and whatever, their battery powered lawnmower pretty heavily, but Milwaukee, Makita, DeWalt, they don't really push their like battery powered lawn stuff.
I know, and it's really weird too because we've talked about this on the show before, but these brands are all owned by one larger company, right? So
Right.
in the case of DeWalt, it's Stanley Black and Decker.
Right.
Well, Stanley Black and Decker owns dedicated yard work companies.
Right.
I can't even remember what it's called, but it's
Yeah.
I think they actually own 2 of them. So that's why I'm like, why does DeWalt have outdoor tools? Craftsman has outdoor tools, and also they have a dedicated company for yard work tools.
Right.
It makes no sense to me.
Well,
I don't know.
I think they advertise the cheap ones. And then whenever I go into my local Home Depot, it's primarily black and yellow is what I see. Or the Ryobi stuff.
Right.
In like the lawn care area for like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
mower or whatever.
So you go in there looking for the cheap stuff, but then you're dazzled by all the fancier looking yellow and black
Yeah.
ones, and you think, oh yeah, well, for a little bit more, I'll just go this route here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was talking to my dad today, and he was doing some yard work,
Yeah.
and he has this. I don't even know what the brand is of like weed whacker and a couple other things, and I'm like, why would you buy that? Like he's searching, he's looking all through the shop. He's like, I know the battery for the weed whacker's in here somewhere.
Right.
And I'm like, why? Just get the DeWalt weed whacker, the Craftsman. We got like walls. We have stacks of these batteries.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, why didn't I do that?
And I guess that's what I'm kind of getting at is like let's say you're in the DeWalt segment. Derek, give us the honest feedback. How is like the DeWalt mower? Is it a pretty good mower?
Well, I had the Ryobi before that, so
Okay.
it's better than that.
Okay.
It runs a lot longer than the Ryobi. The Ryobi, I would rotate out both of my batteries in my lawn, and I get to almost the end of the second battery. On the DeWalt, I'm using one battery, and that's it. I don't have to cycle them. Although you do have to load them both at the same time, but they don't. Then neither one of them go below half.
Okay.
And so it lasts pretty good. However, whenever it's like anything with DeWalt, whatever comes stock, you kind of got to make some adjustments. So I mowed for a few months, and I was like, it's bogging down all the time. There's something off here. The grass doesn't look that great. And then I got to looking at it, and the blade was dull. It was just dull as hell. So I had to sharpen that up. And once I sharpened it up, it was like night and day. That thing, it just plowed right through everything that I put in front of it. It didn't bog down anymore. Everything looked, the grass looked a lot cleaner cut. The only issue I've had with it is it's supposed to be rear wheel drive, self-propelling or whatever. I can't get it to propel itself.
Really?
I don't know what the issue is there. I think there's like a disengaged gear somewhere, and I just haven't taken the time to figure out why
Sounds
it's
like a
not
warranty
engaging.
claim to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You,
that
want,
makes
you guys
sense.
want to know how small my yard is?
Don't
How
have
small?
one.
I do
don't
have
have a
one.
yard.
I have a front yard and a backyard, but they're both so small that I cut the grass with a weed whacker.
I thought you were gonna say scissors, nail clippers. Well, you know who else cuts their yard with a weed whacker?
Our new patrons.
Our new patron. And
You
new
tried.
this week is Jason Bent's son, Leo.
Whoa.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't actually know if it's Jason Bent's son, but their name on Patreon is just Leo, which I'm pretty sure is Jason Bent's son.
Okay. I'm going to assume that this is him rebelling. How old is his son?
I don't know, a couple years
Okay,
old,
he's-
pretty young.
Well, he's going through his rebellious phase early then.
Yeah, I don't know, somewhere between 2 and 6, I would imagine.
Yeah. Screw you, Dad. I'm going to listen to Off the Cut.
Yeah, I don't know anything about kids.
That's good. That's good. If you
Yeah.
knew too much, I would suspect you of being a pedophile.
Hey, I am now allowed going close to schools on the weekend.
I got that
And-
expunged from my record.
How dare you bring that up? That was 10 years ago. Well, the other people that are allowed going near schools with children in them are returning top tier patrons. We've got
Oh, yeah.
Christopher Johnson, Josh at Freedom Workshop, Brooke Appler, Grizzly Bear Woodworks, Dadu, Luke Schmidt, Corey Duvall, Jason Price at Priceless Pro Designs. Oh, this list is getting long. Scott Eastman at EC's Woodshop, and of course the Power Cocker, formerly known as Wes.
Westy West.
And we've got exciting news for for all the patrons and non-patrons out there. We are officially changing up the Patreon perks to provide you guys more value and make it better, because we know that the how do we say it? The merch situation, the way Patreon handled it, was an
Ugh.
absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
So we're changing that up to make it easier for everybody, and we're adding some additional fun stuff, like hangouts with us, hangouts with the group, so we can have some like live interaction. But really, the main draw of it is you get the after show, and you're not a
And also, you
freeloader.
get to submit your green suitors burns that we will read on air.
Ooh, yeah.
That's
So-
the main draw.
Yeah, so those, by the time this podcast comes out, all the new Patreon perks will be live. So take a look at patreon.com/offthecut podcast if you want to support what we're doing here. And if not, just keep listening to the show. That's cool too.
I'm looking forward to doing the live hangouts. I think that's going to be fun.
As am I. And these are always in motion things. So we're going to have the live hangouts on certain tiers, but depending on how it goes, maybe we move it down a tier or up a tier or something like that.
We'll figure
just
it out.
play it out. It's but at the end of the day, this is for you guys. So whatever you want from us, if there's certain things you would like to see us offer, let us know. Like, we're not dictators here, unlike the jerks at the Green Suiters podcast, available on Apple and Spotify. Okay, we got that out of the way. Well, we got anything else we want to chat about? You got anything? for me?
We were going to do, or we were going to save that for the after show. We were going to redo Derek's logo.
Do that in the after show. We also
That's
got
an
a
after show
question
too?
that,
Okay.
that's going to get you fired up in the after show
Oh, baby.
from Steve at Milton Woodworking.
Okay, well, we're on the subject of main show stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. We're not on the subject. This is a completely new topic, but I'm going to bring
it's
it
a
up
good
anyways.
segue though.
Yeah, it's a great segue, right? That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Yeah,
AI. I want to talk a little bit about AI and some of its uses as it pertains to being a creator. Because I was actually
Okay.
playing around with it earlier this week or last week, I can't remember. But I was using it for my thumbnails.
yes.
So here's one common issue that I always have with my thumbnails. I'll be like, ooh, that would make for a good thumbnail, like a screen cap from the
Sure.
video. I'm like, oh, that would make for a perfect thumbnail. But it's too small. There's not enough like negative space for me to add my text or for me to, put something and then have an arrow coming off it that points to something there. So what I did, I was playing around in Photoshop, and Photoshop now has this ability to create more background space, like extend the frame of a photo.
Yeah.
So I took the screen cap that I had, and I was like, I just want it to be like 25% bigger on the left and 25% bigger up above. And it took a few tries to get to it, but it did get to it.
And it's good.
It's good. I mean, it's definitely good enough for a thumbnail. It might not necessarily pass if somebody was like really scrutinizing it, because it was like well, you've actually seen it. It was the thumbnail for my latest N64 video.
I would have never known.
Yeah, if you look close, you'll see that the hand's like a little bit screwed up in one place, but it's fine. It's like, and then I was redoing another thumbnail, and I was like, oh, I need yeah. Derek's pulling it up right now.
You can't tell.
Let's see.
Oh, you're gonna mess up. Oh, he's gonna destroy your watch time.
Audience retention.
Oh, 1 out of 50,000 is gonna be trash.
And then scroll
69.
Scroll down a little bit further, Derek. Let me see if this other one that I did. Oh no, it's not coming up. I did another one where I needed a picture of a broken laptop, and it can actually be kind of sometimes hard to find specific stock art. And you could. So I used Photoshop. I was like, I just drew a box, and I was like, generate me a photo of a broken laptop, and boom, it did it like that. So it's pretty cool.
Huh. That's one thing I haven't done is an entirely just AI thumbnail, but I'm definitely considering it.
I mean, why not? Like, especially these days, I've like transitioned to just like I used to take photos. I try and get like me perfectly in frame with like the subject that I wanted to show, and like try and set my camera to do interval shooting, so it would take a bunch of photos and I just kind of move around a little bit. Now I just manufacture them.
Right.
I'll take a photo of one thing, stick it with another one, give it a fake background. Yeah.
And your thumbnail strategy seems to be working pretty well. Like, isolate your subject, have bright colors in the background, and then like a word or two text.
Yeah, simple.
Very clean.
Very clean. It's consistent too, which I've been trying to go. That was part of the reason I wanted to go back and redo some old ones, is I want it to be recognizable as one of my videos.
Fair.
You know what I mean? Like you see this kind of format, you're like, oh, that's a Zach Builds video.
You see, mine's just some random ass photo that I jack up the contrast and saturation.
But you have a style. Well, like you did for a while. I guess you're kind of getting away from it now a little bit lately. But you had very simple, like clean, very easy to see what was going on photos, right?
Yeah. It's usually a really, really tight shot of something.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's some that I'm playing around with trying to... Some of them have found worked better with text, without text. It's just something I'm always constantly doing. But I got to get into the AI thing. One thing I did use the AI thing for
What's that?
No one has noticed. Miranda and I got engagement photos, I don't know, like a month or two ago. And so like we're sending out like the stupid ass cards, because apparently you can't just text somebody a link. No, you have to spend like hundreds of dollars.
Did you have GPT make like a thank you letter for you?
That's smart.
Save the date.
Yeah, it's like just save the dates, right? And it's like we gotta buy all these. It's like, why can't we just text people? She's like, you can't do that, so we gotta get whatever. We gotta fancy ass envelopes and stuff. Derek, this is not one that you randomly clip and put it on Instagram. Randy, your notes look incredible, but she was like, "What do you think about the photo we put on here?" And obviously, my response is, "Whatever, whatever photo you like best, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, she gives me a photo that's it's a portrait, so it's tall and skinny.
Okay,
and she wants it on a landscape. Save the date. She goes, how do I do this? I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I want this photo, but it doesn't fit. I don't want to zoom in on it. And I was like, well, choose a different photo. She goes, no, this is the one I want. And I'm making her sound mean. She's not mean.
Yeah.
She's the nicest person in the world. I gotta make sure to clarify that. And then I got to thinking, oh my gosh, I can use the AI generative thing. So I did what you said. It was a portrait photo,
Mm-hmm.
and I basically just selected the outsides, and it was like a photo on a bridge or whatever. And you select the outsides, and then Photoshop prompts you like, what do you want me to fill this with? So I just said bridge, and then it gave me like 3 or 4 options. I just pressed the arrows, and then the one that it came up with, you would never know that it
Yeah.
wasn't actually part of the photo. In
Yeah.
fact, we sent all the notes, and then I like asked some people. I was like, "Hey, do you know that that photo is fake?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like,
That's so cool.
only about 25% of that photo was actually taken. Like the majority of the edges of it were
Yeah.
completely AI
And
generated, and they're like, "I
this
had no
happens
idea."
to me all the time too when I take a lot of time I'll try and use vertical video or horizontal video to create vertical video posts. I wonder if
Yeah.
we'll get to the point in the future where we can just have AI give you a little bit more top and bottom so you can switch formats like seamlessly. I mean,
Ooh,
what
that's
is a
smart.
video? It's just a bunch of still frames stitched together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we know now that like when we're trying to generate the sides of stuff, even a photo, it takes
It takes time.
15-20 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So
So I
You can
had
just
dinner with
film square and then
Oh,
crop how
I
you
know.
need
Well,
to.
that's what I want is a camera with a square sensor. First company that comes out with a square sensor camera, I'm all over it.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
I was out to dinner with a buddy of mine last night, and he's a big tech guy, and he pays for the premium version of Midjourney, and Midjourney is like one of the main AI generating things.
That's one of the ones
Um,
that does visuals, right?
Yeah, it's all visual based.
Okay.
So he was showing me his premium account, and the Midjourney stuff is leagues better than what the Photoshop can do. So it's interesting.
Oh.
Even though like the Photoshop stuff is quite competitive, there's still like another level even above that.
So in that Mid-Journey thing, could you type in make me a YouTube thumbnail for a Nintendo 64 that I built myself, and like would it make you something interesting?
I don't know. That's a good question. He said he would share his account with me, so I'll let you know.
Okay. So how much does that account run?
I think he
Like
was saying he
10
pays
bucks a
$50
month?
a month, but there was a cheaper tier. Like he's got, I
You
think the
said
middle
50?
50, yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
honestly, I was thinking about it. Like I pay a bunch of monthly fees for stuff for the channel. I was like, oh, maybe if there was a cheaper one, like let me see what subscription plans here.
See, my biggest
So
issue is with this AI stuff is I don't know how to access most of it. So this Mid-Journey thing, I just go on like midjourney.com or something.
no, Midjourney is so annoying. I think it's all done through Discord.
Oh, I'm out.
Yeah, you have to like send messages to a bot on Discord. It's really annoying.
Huh. Because the Chat GPT, like I just have the app, so I just basically open it up and it's like typing something into Google and then it just comes
Yeah,
back. Like that's easy.
yeah, yeah. I would. I hopefully Midjourney gets there one day, but right now it's kind of annoying.
But why would you do it through Discord? What's the advantage for
I
running
have
something
no
like
idea. I
that?
have no idea.
It's not like they have any like sort of like crazy proprietary software or like anything like that that's not readily available somewhere else, right?
Well, it's
Yeah,
probably how their algorithm works.
yeah.
They
I mean, I'm sure
layer
they
it
have
behind
some.
that Discord.
I'm sure they have some proprietary technology, but I don't know why Discord would be the way to do it. Yeah.
So, like, what other ways do you think AI would be able to benefit us as creators? You
Well, I don't know.
have,
I was thinking. I mean, definitely you could have ChatGPT write captions for you if you wanted.
yeah, yeah,
I tried to do it for a long time. Have ChatGPT write summaries of my YouTube videos, like blog posts.
okay,
The problem is ChatGPT doesn't have access to the internet. It only has the internet up until the year like 2021 or something like that.
So what if you took a
So
transcript of your video and plugged it in?
so that's what I did to try and work around it. But the problem was that you're limited by how much you can input into ChatGPT. So I
right.
had to then take my transcript my video, break it up into pieces, and between each message, I would have to say, like, I would have to prompt it to then like combine the two messages. It was really annoying. It was like a very clunky workaround, but it did kind of work. It was just, I don't think it was any actually faster than just summarizing it myself.
Right.
It was
But
getting there.
you're like me, and the last thing you want to do is write a whole big block of text. You'd rather copy and paste a bunch of stuff.
Exactly. That's very true.
That makes sense. So you can see like
But
summaries of things.
yeah,
I can see how
summaries
like
of
that
things.
mid-journey thing would be like excellent to like come up with like merch, like t-shirt designs and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Like that's something that we talked about. Or you could even use it as a jumping off point for a project. You could be like, "Hey, Midjourney, design me a cool modern chair." And then it would like it
Ooh.
give you like when you give it a prompt, it gives you like 9 iterations of it, I think. So you can even just see like, okay, well, I like this one the best, and then like, okay, do this one, but then like tweak this, tweak that,
Okay.
and so you could start like dialing it on like that. You could say, oh, I want a mid-century style dining room table with matching chairs. And you don't necessarily have to use the design it gives you, but it could be a way to help you iterate on ideas faster.
Right. Rather than just going to Google Images and being like, "Oh, I'm going to copy what they have at Pottery Barn or whatever," right?
Exactly. Or, sitting at a chair and just sitting at a table and sketching 10 different desks. Like, yeah. So
interesting.
that's another way. I don't know. I'm kind of excited just for thumbnails, honestly, being able to just have it generate like pretty good quality clip art that I can then. So I'm always worried about getting copyright struck for using clip art and stuff like that. Because a lot of time, like if you need Arrow or something like that, what do? You go to Google Images, you
Yeah.
type in Arrow PNG, and you're like, oh, I think it'll be okay if I use this one. It doesn't say it's copyrighted, but you never know.
That's interesting though, because a lot of people I don't think realize that we all know that if you have I don't know, a photo like a sports photo or whatever, and it says like Getty Images or like AP Images, Associated Press, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
We are like, yeah, I get that that's a copyrighted image. I can't just slap it on there. But then you're like your example. Oh, I want an arrow.
Yeah.
I'll just slap that on there. Well, that arrow photo can also be copyrighted, and technically, you're using a copyrighted photo in your thumbnail, and like you could get demonetized for that.
I know. I'm always anytime I take like an arrow from the internet, I'm always make sure I modify it in some way.
Oh,
I'll like scale it and like change the ratio and then like edit it, put an outline around it and stuff like that. So, but I run into this issue all the time too, where I'll want those like technical drawings that kind of like explain how something works.
oh yeah.
Like in a video I did a little while ago, a schematic or something. I wanted a picture that explained how a heat pipe worked.
Okay.
And I went on Google. I typed in, how does a heat pipe work diagram, and I got a bunch of results. But I was like, I don't think I can use any of these because somebody sat down and created this for their business, and it's like I don't know if it's really right to then put it in my YouTube video that it's a commercial product because I'm making money from it. So
Yeah.
So, would you be able? Because I've done this when I've used like clips from other folks' YouTube videos, and I
yeah,
will put like if I don't know, like I don't know, say I was like, I took a clip from one of your videos or whatever.
yeah,
I'd put the clip up, and then the bottom I would be like source Zach builds, and then like put
yes.
like is that the equivalent of like when you were in high school and you had to do like the citation thingy, right?
Citation. I mean, I've definitely done that, and I think that that's okay. I think falls under the category of fair use.
Okay.
But I don't know, to be 100% honest with you. So bettor to err
It's all
on the
about
side of
how much of it you use too. So you can
Yeah.
only go for so long. I think it's like between 5 and 15 seconds is the max amount of time you can use
Right.
before you're open to a potential copyright strike. But then it's all about that person and whether they want to pursue it or not. So
Yeah.
with Zach's video, if you went with like a 30-second clip, it's up to him if he wants to come after you for that or not.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just so much wishy-washy unknownness to the whole thing that
And so, I mean,
I
AI
don't
gives
know.
you a path to eliminate some of that risk, get rid of some of that wishy-washiness, right? Because if you're
Yeah.
paying for a license for some AI thing, I assume you're getting light. Actually, that's a good question. I don't know. Like, does AI art generated by Photoshop or Adobe, does Adobe then have some sort of copyright claim over that? I wouldn't think so, but maybe.
That's that's
Ooh.
currently being debated as far as who
Yeah,
owns copyright on digital art. Because I think there was
right.
some issue with like some show recently used AI art, generated art to create in one of their promotional images, and it became a copyright issue because they're trying to determine who that copyright belongs to and
Right.
who has rights to that and if they can use it and so on and so forth.
I'm
Huh.
actually on the Midjourney website right now, and there's a whole page explaining usage rights, and it is
Oh, I
very
bet that's a
dense.
read.
Yeah, it is a read and a half.
But I mean, I totally get both sides. So like, let's totally make this up. We work for McDonald's,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And Zach and I get tasked to make a flyer, like a window decal, where they're like the new Big Mac, $2 or whatever. It's slap in a little, vinyl decal they slap on the windows or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Zach comes to me on a Friday morning and he goes, "Hey, Eric, how about we just toss a couple prompts into AI? We get you know, this banner banged out in about 5 minutes,
And we hit
and
the
we
bar.
go to the ball.
It's Miller time.
It's Miller
Yeah,
time, sure."
yeah, yeah.
I'd be like, "Man, Zach, that's a good idea." So you type in like McDonald's Big Mac promo, say it's two for $4, bright colors, give it some prompts or whatever. It spits one out and we go, boom, done. Is that now intellectual property of McDonald's, media branch, or because we did nothing
Hmm.
other than
Well,
prompts, does
I
it
would
belong
I
to AI?
I wouldn't say nothing because I think there is going to see, and you're going to see this more and more, that being a good prompt generator is a skill.
Hmm.
Okay.
To sit
I
there and
can't.
say, what's that?
I was gonna say I can't search for anything. I can't. My search skills are very limited.
Right, right, right. But like I was hanging out with my friend and I was like, okay, like I want a picture of a broken laptop. And so he punched it in. He's like, okay, what do you want the background to be? I was like, oh, I want a transparent background. He's like, okay, no problem. He's like, what aspect ratio do you want it to be? I was like, oh, just 1:1. And then he's like, okay, no problem. So he knew how to do all of these things like super quickly, exactly what to say to it. So there is a skill to prompting in the right way so that you get the outcome that you want.
That makes sense. I mean, it's no different than like when Google first came out. If
Yeah.
when Google first came out, if you typed in "how do I tie my shoes," Google's
Yeah.
like, "Ah, the hell are you talking about? I don't know
Yeah.
how to give you information on that." You would have to be like, what? Shoe
Uh,
tying technique, shoe strategy of tying, like,
exactly.
stuff like that. But now you could type in "how do I tie my shoes" and it'd have no problem. I think
It
AI will be the same.
that used to be the sign of a technically illiterate person. I remember back in the day when somebody would type something into search engine in the form of a question, you'd be like, "What are you doing?"
Hmm.
But now it works perfectly fine. But back then it didn't.
No, you're absolutely right. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, we got some interesting questions we want to
Yeah.
get to, and it might actually a little bit might stem into the AI
Okay.
the aspect, and we're going to hit those in the after show, and that's where we're going right now.
So yeah.
We'll see you on the next one. Man,
Yeah,
that was
Josh.
short and sweet. You
I
like
know.
that? You guys were ready for that one. Boom. Ask
Josh, I was
Jeeves
gonna
go
say that
fast.
the first search engine that you could search in the form of a question was Ask Jeeves.
Yeah,
It's a good throwback.
Isn't that now Bing or
It
who?
became
I think it.
ask.com for a while, and
Yeah,
then now, yeah, and then it got absorbed by somebody else. So maybe it is Bing.
Uh,